Did you know that I co-created an app once? I did. And it was with our guest. Dr. Givona Sandiford is on the podcast. She is just a dynamo in the field. We were just talking, and I was like, how long have I known you? Like 8 years. We just have worked on some projects together. She's very, very forward thinking. And today we're going to be talking about kind of this integration of technology and the field of speech language pathology. So if you're somebody that has not even signed up for Chat GPT yet, that's great. Listen on in. If you're a small business owner and you want to know how you can use tech to increase your operations and streamline things, this is a great show for you. Dr. Givona Sandiford is a licensed and nationally certified speech language pathologist, and she has been in the field for 2 decades, really advancing the field. She's very, very innovative. She started her own company, Melospeech, during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's really fun to just see her growth in this company and all the really cool things that she's doing in the field. I'm always like very suspect when somebody calls themselves a thought leader, which she does not, but I'm telling you that she is an absolute thought leader in the field. She's always innovative. She's always coming up with things to make our jobs more streamlined. And what I thought was fascinating is she actually has some background in HR, which has helped her grow her company in a very thoughtful way. And she's also a certified Scrum Master, which I'm not going to get into that. We talk about this in the podcast, but I actually knew what that was. And she has developed technology called the SLP Spot, a tool designed to streamline services for SLP professionals, with the first 5,000 receiving free access through a crowd-funded initiative. Well, let me tell you, I signed up already. I'm going to put her website in the show notes. This is a really awesome podcast with a friend and colleague, Dr. Givona Sandiford. I'm Rose Griffin, a speech therapist, board-certified behavior analyst, and founder of ABA Speech. It wasn't all that long ago that I felt overwhelmed by providing therapy for my autistic students and any students who were not yet speaking. Fast forward through many doubts, tears, research, and courses, and you will see the framework that I use today and share with over 60,000 readers weekly. One that will help you support your students and feel more confident in the process. I created the ABA Speech podcast to give you simple, step-by-step strategies to help you reach all of your students wherever they are on their communication journeys. If you're a speech therapist, BCBA, RBT student, or parent who's looking to help all students develop a way to communicate with the world, you are in the right place, friend. Let's get started. Welcome to the podcast. We have a great guest for you today. We go way back. We were just reminiscing before I pressed record. Welcome to the show, Dr. Givona Sandiford. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Rose.
And I don't even know how we connected. Maybe once I got into the online space, I feel like at one point we had an app that we did together that was like fill in the blanks, and BCBA sometimes called those interverbals. And then we, I don't remember, you made like a video. It was like about a clinical case that I had, and I did a voiceover, and your company did the whole, production of the animation. I used to show that all the time in like my continue ed videos that I used to have. And, before we're an ASHA provider now. That's been year 6. But, before all that, I was definitely showing that video. So we go way back is what I'm saying. We go way back. Although we've never been in real life, but Zoom for me is kind of like, this is real life until we were at the same conference. So for those of us that are new to who you are, can you just tell us a little bit about how you got started and how you knew you wanted to be a speech language pathologist and then go on for a PhD? That's a lot.
Yes. So again, my name is Givona. Everyone calls me Dr. S. I knew I wanted to be a speech language pathologist when I was a preteen, around age 13. I was babysitting for a little guy with a speech impediment, and I was working with him, and he couldn't say his Z sound. I believe he was stopping, and so we were like bzzz all day long. And I found out, hey, this is kind of fun. Let me look into it. So I went and interviewed She's passed away now because I am super old. I've been an SLP
Yeah.
for 20 years. But
Yeah. Same.
Dr. Jean Lowry, she was wonderful at Loma University. I went and interviewed her when I was a teenager and asked her everything I
Wow.
needed to do to follow the path. She basically wrote out the path to be an SLP for me, and I followed it. And so I've been an
Wow.
SLP for 20 years, worked in every area of the field pretty
Yeah.
much, and now I own my own practice.
Wow, that's amazing. I've been an SLP since 2003. Yeah, probably about the same
Right? About the same
time
time.
frame.
Yeah.
Okay, wow,
Cool.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been neat to just to know you, just kind of like another thing. I feel like you're always in the ASHA leader. I love the ASHA leader. Like I get a lot of podcasts for that, but I always see your picture in there for it because you're always doing something that's like so neat and like noteworthy. Okay, there's this whole section, the ASHA leader. I actually with BCBA's had that same type of publication. It's neat to see like what people are up to, but I feel like you're always kind of forward thinking and using technology, which we're going to talk about a bit. But tell us a little bit about your business. Is it Melospeech? Am I saying that correctly?
Yes. Melospeech.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Like when did you start it and what do you guys do there?
Yes. So I founded Melospeech in 2021 during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh,
I had a plan to just work for myself and just be me, myself, and I. And I just had my son. And so I thought, okay, I'll work a few hours a week and I'll stay home with my little boy. It's the pandemic anyway. And well, I had way more referrals than I could actually take by myself. And, we just can't turn those little ones away. They need
mm-mm.
the help. They can't find anybody,
Yeah.
especially during that time. So
Right.
I just kept hiring more and more people. And at that time, I'd also had a SHRM certification. So that's a Society for Human Resources Professionals.
Oh.
And so I had a lot of
Oh.
experience with human resources. So that made it a lot
Oh.
easier to hire and bring people on with
Yeah.
that background. And then during that process, there's a lot of back end to running a business. If you all run businesses, there's like, you're seeing your clients, but you can't answer the phones. You can't do the referrals. And so
Right.
I was an app developer before. As Rose said, we had an app together
Yeah.
way
We
back when.
did way
It was a
back.
cool app. Very forward thinking at the time, right, Rose? Like,
Yes, of course.
at the time.
Yes. Yes.
But for Melospeech, what I ended up doing is developing a lot of our own tech
Yeah.
for the back end and just
Yeah.
automating a lot of our processes, which allowed us to be able to pay our team more because we weren't spending as much on those back end processes. And so, as our team knows, we're always like, there's a new tech tool coming out and we're piloting it with 5 people. And so, that's kind of the whole Melospeech way. So, now we have released 2 of our software as a service. The first one is the CMSP B5, which launched today.
Oh, wow.
When you're hearing this, it'll have launched for a little bit. And then also the SLP Spot is in demo right now. And so we're super excited about those. Those are both tools that we've been using in Melospeech for about 6 months. So the team is very familiar with them. And we thought, you know
Yeah.
what? Let's release them to other SLPs and see if we can also make them make more money because we do a
Yeah.
lot of work and we're not reimbursed appropriately. Probably the same in BCBA, right?
Yeah.
We need to
Right.
make
Now that
more.
insurance coverage, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
the
really
insurance
been
cover, it's not enough for what we do. So
right.
if we can make what we do faster, then we will be making more
Yeah.
because we're spending less time. And so that's the goal.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. So at Melospeech, do you provide? I did not know you had this human resources background. I feel like I
Yeah.
need a coaching call after we press stop. But so at Melospeech, do you have a brick and mortar clinic? Or are you providing teletherapy or a
Yes.
mix of both? You going into schools? What do you guys do?
So we're a tech-enabled mobile speech therapy practice. We cover multiple regions. So what we do is we
Okay.
go into the homes, we go into the communities, and we go into the schools or daycares. We also do tribal governments. We'll go to the tribal
Oh,
government agencies, their tribes, and see kids up over there on the tribes.
yeah.
I'm always stumbling over it because I'm like, wait, do we say tribe now? We don't say native anymore.
Yeah.
So, indigenous
Right.
peoples.
Oh, sure.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, and so it's been really great because if you don't have to pay for a brick and mortar, that's a significant
Right.
fee that you're cutting out. And so we cover more than one state now. And so it's
Oh,
been really,
wow.
it's been really scalable doing it this way.
That's interesting because I'm licensed in, so I'm sitting here in Ohio, but I'm licensed in Washington State, and I have been for 4 years. There's a neat insurance program in that state where the kids get they get 12 12 weeks of ABA and 12 weeks of speech therapy, but it's hard for ABA clinics to provide that service because it's all based on referral. So they might have one kid that's a half hour a week, or they might have five kids, and it just ebbs and flows on this 12-week kind of cycle. And funny enough, somebody sent me an Instagram DM to see if I was licensed in Washington State and could I provide supervision for an SLPA. This is like almost 5 years ago now. And now we serve and support like 6 or 7 clinics with teletherapy services. So it's been interesting though, because things have really started to pick up, and I'm like, oh dear, I need to kind of tighten up our operations from the back end standpoint, because there's so much, right, that goes into it. Okay, interesting. So you kind of mentioned how you're using technology to streamline your business, but what are some other ways that you are using technology? So do you have a background in tech? Because I know we did that app together, but is this something that's a focus for you? Because you've always kind of seemed forward thinking in how to utilize technology to streamline things.
Yes, so I am actually a certified Scrum Master, which is an agile framework for tech development. So I do have a background in tech. The cool thing about tech, especially now, is you don't even have to know how to write your own code. I mean, you can go to AI and say, please write the Python code for this, as long as you have enough of a knowledge base to do so. Right? So yes, but I do have a background in tech. And then your other question about how we are using technology for our speech operations. Our latest tool, the SLP Spot, is something that we've been using with Melospeech, and it automates our notes. So at the end of our sessions, what we generally do is we've always been doing this, right? We give a summary. Right. So our parents are part of our session. We use the family capacity building model because we work with very little ones. And as you all know, it works best when the family is also trained to do what we're doing, right? That's when we see astronomical progress. So at the end of each session, we'll say something like, hey, mom and dad, today was a great session. Sarah was able to say 5 new words. We'll list the words. This is what you're doing for the home program this week. So what we did is we developed a tool that we can talk into at the same time that we're talking to the parents, and it will create that note for us and automatically file it off to our office at the same time. So what that's done is it's cut out, we were paying for 10 minutes of note time on top of each session, and it was taking at least 10 minutes. So our team was going home and working on their notes at the end of the day, like we all do, when they should have been with their family and relaxing, doing what they want to do, right? And a lot of clinics don't even pay for your note time, as you know. Right. But we do. But when we did that, it cut out all of that note time because at the same time that we were briefing the family on the home program and the session, our notes were being done at the same time. So we were using it for about 6 months before we released it as a tool. SLP Spot, currently it's in demos. Like I've been demoing with people all week. Wow! Just getting all the glitches out. But it's going to be free. It's launching free to the first 5,000 SLPs. So, neat. We wanted to have it completely free just because we believe that every SLP deserves a little piece. You know, like our field is so hard.
I saw that marketing.
It's the same thing.
Yes, I saw that marketing graphic. Okay, I'm going to be one of those 5,000.
Yeah, a little piece. It's true. Our field
There's
is
so much.
People are burning out. They're wanting to leave the field. We're overworked and underpaid. That if you want to, but it's the truth.
It's the truth. Yes. Go cry in your car. Yes.
No, it is hard work and it's not a lot of pay. So we need to be faster, and we can be faster with tech tools.
Oh, I like that. Okay, I don't know exactly what a Scrum Master is, but I'm in a lot of business masterminds, and I know some people in my business masterminds. I've definitely heard the word Scrum Master. It's a big deal. And it's interesting you said that.
It's kind of hard too. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes. No, I'm like, so I know I've heard the term. I feel so smart. I know that like I had my, my business guru, his name's Jay Klaus. I'm in one of these, masterminds and the whole thing.
I know him.
Okay, yeah, he has a podcast called Creator Science. Actually, the people from SLP Toolkit, they were actually on his first podcast, but you might have heard it. It's way back in the day when they started. But he said he used to be a web developer. Now he has this big business, and he said that he's been using ChatGPT to figure out a little code items. Like he'll put some code in there, or it'll allow him to help it. So there might actually be people listening to this podcast who are not even using ChatGPT yet, but I started using it. I went to a really cool conference last year called CEX. It's for content creators. and I create a lot of content in my business. And so it was really cool. But they talked about AI a lot. And I mean, I utilize it every single week. You know, I still use a copywriter and I still have all my helpers and people. But boy, it's pretty amazing. If you're not, you haven't dipped a toe.
Enhances what you already have, because Rose,
Yes.
you're already good at all of that stuff, right?
Right.
So you're putting in the things that you're good at,
Right.
and now you've got a super brain helping you be even better. So it's not like a 2-year-old going in and typing gaga and then it's coming up with something amazing, right? You have to start with something already. And I think that's where a lot of SLPs or people who are not familiar with tech get kind of like, oh, but I don't want it to do the work for me. That's not how it works. You have to start with something, and then you have to be able to edit it, you know? So it's so we'll see what happens.
There's whole courses on like what prompts to give ChatGPT. You know, it's like
you can spend a day with ChatGPT just talking to it back and forth as an SLP, as an ABA, as somebody with background in communication. You will be a pro because you start to recognize patterns. Like now, if somebody's written something with ChatGPT, I'm like, that has a tone to it that feels very, you know, so.
Are you talking about my recent Instagram post? Yeah, I did do a couple. I was like, I wonder how this will work.
Take the word crucial out of every post. Don't use crucial, because ChatGPT loves crucial. That's like,
it's a dead giveaway.
Crucial. But I'm just saying, like, everybody should do that. Spend a day. You'll get really good at prompts. But yeah, for us, what we do is we integrate OpenAI.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything. And we were using automation prior to ChatGPT being released for public use. When was it?
Neat.
Like 2020. When did they release that?
Pretty recent. I don't know.
2022? I don't know.
Probably. I feel like 2 years ago.
We were writing our own algorithms, which made it like this. Now it's so much easier. We don't have to write the algorithm, right?
Yeah. It's just amazing. Like we use something called Opus, which we put in our podcast video and then it pumps out these clips and we share that weekly and it puts all the captions on there for you. I mean, there's just everything. Like I know as a business owner, you probably have standard operating procedures where you're like, okay, this is how we do an intake or this is how we do this. There are AI generated technologies that will just watch you do it, screen record what you do on your computer, and then they generate the video and the actual step-by-step.
Oh, for sure.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Prompt, you can do pretty much anything. I would hope that SLP will do more of this. Our CMSP B5 was actually started because one of our local payment sources did not want to pay us for reevaluations. They wanted to pay for a session, but they wanted us to do a full evaluation, complete with findings, age equivalencies, percent delay, and a full report. And it had to have all this extra stuff in it. Like, so how are we supposed to do this without doing an evaluation? Oh, use your professional judgment. Pull it out of your mind. I'm like, so you mean make it up and risk my license that I worked so hard for? Are you kidding me? So my team, we got together and we said, you know what? We're going to build our own tool. And so the CMSP B5, we just launched it today, but we've been using it with our team internally for months. Basically, it helps us screen a child, birth to 5. We put in all of our observations. We can type in anything that we see. And then it just compares it to the norms. It's like ASHA norms, CDC norms, whatever, well-established norms. It's trained to do that. We put them into the tool. And it writes the report all in under 5 minutes. Report. Boom. So we're like, okay, you're going to pay us for an hour. We're going to take 5 minutes. How about that? I'm going to say that you're not paying us for the full hour now? Right. So, right? Because you said, so that's how we've been reclaiming our time. And so we released this tool and it's free. There's a free version of it.
Neat.
And then the other version is under $1 per report because we wanted it to be affordable for SLPs, you know, and early intervention professionals. As you know, with AI, you have to read everything.
Yes.
Every once in a while, it'll just randomly throw something like a curveball in there. You're like, where did that come from?
Right. Oh, interesting. Okay, I'll have to look these up. Oh, that sounds really, really good. So what do you...
a promo code for your listeners only.
Okay, yeah. Send me the link. Yeah, send me the links and things. That would be great. I'm excited to see these. So what would be your advice for new business owners on using technology to streamline their operations? I know sometimes you feel like, it's like, do you wait till you have a problem and then you look for the tech to fix it? Or, you know how sometimes it's like shiny new object syndrome. It's like, well, I'm using this, but I heard about this thing. Like what do you recommend for somebody starting out on this journey?
I think it depends on where you're starting, if you're a solo practitioner or if you have a team. If you have a team, it's very important that you pilot any new tool with a small group first, right?
Yeah,
So you're not
right,
launching something for your whole entire team because it was shiny and it was pretty, and then you're
right,
finding out, oh, this actually doesn't really work for my actual business model. So you try
yeah,
it with a very small group of people first.
right,
I would not recommend making your own tools unless you happen to be techie or somebody
right.
who understands how to make tech.
Yeah,
There's usually always something already out there that can kind
right.
of fit your needs. You just have to search for it.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. And I guess one of my last questions is, what advice do you have for anyone who's thinking of starting their own business? Because it seems like for you, I know you've done a lot of different work in the field, and then you started Melospeech in 2021. So, I mean, relatively a new business.
Yeah, we're
What's your
a year
advice for
old.
anyone who's has this little? Amy Porterfield used to always say, "Well, you're thinking that there's a little voice inside you." I don't know if you, Amy. We have different business gurus, but Amy Porterfield is this like, she's kind of a big deal in the online space.
Oh,
And
I have to
I
look her up.
listened to a lot of business podcasts when I was driving. I had a 35-minute commute, and I had this idea for the Action Builder cards. That's how I started my entire business.
I remember those cards. Are you
Yeah,
still selling them?
I still am selling
Oh
them,
my
but
gosh,
I'm
that's
gonna be,
awesome.
yeah, I'm in talks to kind of sunset that and sell that to one of my distributors. But
Nice.
it's like I don't know, for me, it was really impactful to like listen to these podcasts and be like, I had to think about it in my head and like get this mindset of like, I'm so passionate about helping autistic learners. Like, I'm not sure about the tech and the this and the that, but I know that this passion is going to help me get started. Right. What advice do you have for anybody that might be having these thoughts, these entrepreneurial thoughts?
I mean, aside from starting a speech pathology business, I always say, you either do what you know or do what you love. If you do what you know, you can't fail. If you do what you love, it's going to be fun when you have to work late into the night. If you're doing
Yeah.
something that you don't know and you don't love, be prepared to work very hard and to hate your life because business
Right.
is hard, right? But if
It's,
it's
yeah.
something you love, like say baking, you're going to
Right.
bake all day and all night. You're going to love that. If it's writing, you're going to write all day and all night.
Right.
You're going to do that. Or if it's something like SLP, ABA, all of that, you've been
Hmm.
doing it 20 years, kind of
Right.
tough to fail at that because you know it. It's something you're good
Right.
at, So that's
Yeah.
all I tell people. Something you know or something you love.
I love that. Simple to the point. Love it. Where can people find out more about you and your work? Do you guys have a website?
Yes, so www.melospeech.com.
Okay, wonderful. And I'll put that in the show notes and the information, I'm sure, about your other, the CMSB 5. I hope I said that right. And SLP spot. Well,
CMSPV5. No, it's the communication
okay.
milestone screening protocol birth to five. Super long.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds really cool though. I'm excited to check all this out because that sounds really like just a smarter way to work. I'm always thinking to myself, how can I work smarter, right?
Absolutely.
And not
I don't know
harder.
if there's time to say the
Yeah.
60 second, not 60 minutes, 60
Yeah.
second thing.
Yeah.
But people often, there's a certain type of person that feels like they need to work harder and they take value in working harder and doing 70-hour weeks when they could do the same thing in 1 hour. I
Right.
don't know what type of person that is, but I'd rather take the 69 hours and spend that with my family and the 1 hour
Yes.
working.
Right.
I hope that most SLPs will be that way. You know,
Yes. Hmm.
when I had my son, there was somebody that came in and said, "Oh, you did an epidural? I did one without." And I said, "Good for you. I'm happy that I didn't have as much pain as you, but if you feel good about having that pain, you should feel good about that." I think working
Right.
harder and longer is the same.
Right.
Want to work
Yeah.
harder and
Yeah.
longer and boast about it? I don't care. I
Yeah.
did less, and I'm happy
Right.
to say I did.
It's yeah, some people use that as a badge of honor. I actually did I was going to make a clapback video probably before this airs, but I did a talk recently for another company and somebody wrote the nastiest review I've ever got in my life. And my home office, I have a harp because I went to an Akron public grade school but there was a harp ensemble and so my parents ended up, buying me a harp and this lady just laid into me about and this is a course like 6,000 people have watched and it's, highly rated course but she was like, I didn't understand the life of a speech therapist. I do work 2 days a week in my kids' school, my public school here in my hometown, and that I had expensive hobbies. And I just was like, gosh, you must be so mad to make that comment.
Sounds like a jealous hater to me.
It's like my parents bought me this harp. My dad used to carry it to my school, but I'll save that for the Instagram post. But yeah, sometimes people use that like overworked, upset. As sometimes you're in a work environment that for financial reasons you can't get out of, and that's hard. So I think these resources that you're creating, using with your own team, I like that idea of like you're piloting it before you're like, this is the new thing, guys. We're just going all in.
I will
But
hate you if you don't do that.
yes, but this is trying to make everybody's life a little easier. So,
Yeah,
so thanks for
we
that,
have
because you
to.
said we all need a little piece, right?
We do. We do. We have to find a way to change the field of SLP so we're not working as hard and we're making more for the work that we're doing. And in doing that, we get more respect for what we're doing.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was great to connect.
Thanks, Rose. I appreciate you.